What's up, One Pride, and welcome back to RachelMarieSports. I am Rachel, and today we're going to talk about our Detroit Lions' new head coaching hire, Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell brings with him 11 years of experience as a player in the league and 11 years of experience coaching around the league as well. Prior to this hire, Campbell spent 5 years with the New Orleans Saints as the tight ends coach and the assistant head coach to Sean Payton himself. Now that's somebody with a winning mentality. Before that, you could find him in Miami. He was coaching the tight ends there as well and spent 1 year at the beginning of his career as a coaching intern. In Miami, he did get the chance to become interim head coach for a short while, and despite the record, I believe he did end up going 5-7 in his time as the interim coach. That season, Miami did produce 5 Pro Bowlers. During his 11 years as a player, Dan Campbell played for the Giants, the Cowboys, the Lions, and the New Orleans Saints. He actually was on the 0-16 team in 2008. So Dan knows a little bit about losing, but he's also spent time under Sean Payton, which means that he also knows a little bit about winning. What that tells me is that he knows from the player perspective to the coaching perspective what it takes to win. Many around the league are already applauding the hire, as Dan Campbell is touted as a player's coach, a leader. This is completely the opposite from what we previously experienced with Matt Patricia, and it seems like it should bring the organization and the locker room together. Oh, and you may recognize him from a fun little show called South Park. Yeah, the PC principal. Just kidding, but the likeness is kind of uncanny. Now I know, many of you are already saying, well, Rachel, he doesn't have any previous head coaching experience. He hasn't even been a coordinator before. Well, let's think about it this way. There are a lot of great head coaches out there that got their start from a coordinator or coaching position and are doing very, very well today. For instance, consider Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Tomlin went from being a DB's coach and a defensive coordinator to the youngest NFL head coach of all time and the first NFL head coach to take their team to the Super Bowl in only their second season and win. How about John Harbaugh? From a special teams coordinator to a DB's coach, making the jump to a head coach that has now seen the playoffs plenty of times in recent history. Then there's good old Andy Reid, from a quarterback's coach to a head coach, and we all know the success that he's seen. So I guess my point is, let's give Campbell the shot that he deserves. Now, instead of elaborating on my opinion of the Dan Campbell hire, I'm gonna use a personal story from my own past to kind of just use some context for comparison situationally. Now bear with me because it may get confusing here for a second, but I promise it's going to have a point. So when I was younger, I really hated the thought of eating raw oysters. I thought that they looked and would definitely taste like boogers. Now if I lost you there, just hang on. Compare the thought process of Dan Campbell being hired to my thought process as a young girl and those raw oysters. You may be unsure, right? You may think, where's the previous head coaching experience? Where's this resume that I'm looking for? Okay, Dan Campbell, booger. But as we grow and as young Rachel grew, she tried new things, gave things a chance, and eventually, when I tried my very first raw oyster, it was nothing like a booger at all. In fact, it is now one of my favorite things, but I just had to give it a shot. And then we have Dan Campbell. So where you may think he is a booger now, remember that he could be an oyster when you give him a chance, and you may end up loving it. Now, if you don't like oysters at all, please don't just comment below this video, oh, oysters are gross and that was a bad comparison because I hate them, so I'll always hate Dan Campbell. Not the point. I think you guys get it. With all that to be said, I would like to hear your thoughts on the Dan Campbell hire, so why don't you leave those in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you can see when new content is uploaded. I also love to interact on Twitter, so definitely check me out there at RachelMarieSports. And if you're looking on Facebook or Instagram, you can just search for Rachel Marie Sports. Cheers to new beginnings, you guys. And as always, one pride.